If I asked every one of you in this room to name something that you all have in common with one another, and you rely on it so much, you've actually brought it along with you today to this event, would you know what it is? This product is part of a $2.7 trillion industry, employs 75 million people globally, and produces an estimated 100 billion units per year. As well as being one of the oldest products crafted and traded, it can also enhance a person's performance and mental well-being. So you're thinking, it's an app on my smartphone, right? No, actually, it's much more part of us today than even our smartphones. It's clothing. Yep, these seemingly simple pieces of fabric sewn together and draped around our bodies, literally touching us, are so much more than just clothes. Now, my passion for designing clothes didn't come about because I was brought up in the fashion industry. Far from it. Literally far from it. In a small rural fishing village in the northeast of Scotland, the closest I came to making any kind of fashion statement growing up was deciding whether I should wear my brother's hand-me-downs tucked inside my wellies that season or over the top. The most important thing that I've learned in the decades of working with people and the clothes that they wear is that it's not actually about how you look that's most important. What really matters is how clothes make you feel. Now, our close association with textiles isn't just their physical proximity to our bodies. We, hairless apes, have been wearing clothes since 6000 BC, and whether we're actually aware of it or not, clothes are an extension of our personalities and our desire to belong, to stand out, to blend in, to make a statement, to attract a partner, to protect us physically, but sometimes emotionally too. Even the art of taking your clothes off is part of sex and seduction in our complex mating game. Sorry. I got distracted by that one. The Victorian Industrial Revolution started right here in the UK, with textiles being the first mass-produced commodity. From that revolution, many words, terms, and expressions are still woven into everyday figures of speech that, a little like our attitudes towards clothes, have become so normalized now that their importance and significance has almost been lost. I was chatting to my colleague last week, and we were discussing a strategy, and we came to the same solution, and she said, okay, that's because we're cut from the same cloth. And then that very same afternoon, I read an email from a friend, and she'd written, it's all falling apart at the seams. We catch shuttle buses, we weave through traffic, we follow comment threads of online posts. And before I lose the thread of what it is that I'm trying to say, words that originated in textile production in the tailors' workrooms are still very much part of the fabric of today's society. Now, our happiness and performance levels are intertwined with what we wear, and there are several studies that actually support this. Northwest University took a group of students and asked them to perform some mental agility tasks, but they gave them a doctor's white lab coat to do so. The control group wore their own clothes. Those wearing the doctor's white lab coat performed significantly better than those in their own clothing. In the second study, they gave them the exact same coat, but this time told them it was just a painter's overall. These results were significantly less than those wearing the doctor's coat, believing they were wearing the doctor's coat. In the final study, they placed the doctor's lab coat at the front of the room and asked the students to imagine that they were wearing it whilst undertaking the mental agility tasks. The results were similar to those who were wearing their own clothes from the first study. The conclusion: it's not enough to think you are wearing something that's associated with professionalism and care. You actually have to be wearing it to reap the benefits. This is called enclothed cognition. But we already know this ourselves, right? Because when we pull on something that makes us feel good inside, we stand taller, we're braver, we have that little bit more confidence and self-belief. Now, fashion has used the emotional boost that clothes can give us, selling more and more to us as we chase that dream of an enhanced version of ourselves. But if we continue to consume clothing at the rate that we do today, it's estimated by 2030 it's going to require 2 Earths' worth of resources to sustain demand. In that same time period, the demand for clothing is expected to rise by 63%. Today, clothes have become the same cost as a packet of Posh crisps or a coffee. Quite literally, clothes are as cheap as chips. The consumer's expectation is that they're cheap, and therefore they buy more. But there's a huge social and environmental cost to be paid for this fast fashion trend. It takes 2,700 litres of water to produce just one conventional cotton t-shirt. That's the same as an average person would drink for 3 years. There are some 72 toxic chemicals used in the textile dyeing and manufacturing processes. Many of these end up in the watercourses and are impossible to be filtered or removed. Textiles is the second largest pollutant of clean water on the planet. Many farm and factory workers in the poorest countries are still trapped in modern-day slavery, making the cheap clothes that we have come to expect. Now, fashion is responding with closed-loop production systems, upcycling clothes, better biodegradable fabrics, sourcing from sustainable sources, even using waste products such as orange peel or pineapple tops, scooping plastic out of the ocean to make footwear, and developing better microfiber fabrics that don't shed when washed, that ends up in the ocean and our food supply. But all of these take time to develop and adopt, and something we can start right now is shifting our consumption habits. I want to just take a moment, though, and just kind of explain how I believe we've got to where we are, where the brands continue to squeeze the manufacturers to pay less than a living wage to their workers and reducing the cost of their garments. Clever marketing. This week's must-have, Best Buy, It bag, subtly toying with our emotions that if we're not shopping and consuming, we're not actually fashionable. Fashion has used this, fashion has created insecurities that they themselves are now benefiting from. Celebrity endorsements, clever social media schemes have us all believing we must buy, and then share. But the thing is, they're not actually selling you clothes. They're selling you hope. I call this hope on a hanger. You hope that by making that new purchase, that your body might be magically transformed. You hope that you'll get the job. You hope your partner will love you. You hope you might actually like yourself that little bit more. Let me ask you 2 questions. How many of you have bought something and regretted it? Maybe never even worn it. Okay, and secondly, how many of you own clothes that when you wear them, you don't feel that great in them? Yeah, we've all done it. We have. We're all guilty of it. For the past 5 years, I've been looking into which clothes have the most power and influence on us. And my conclusion? It's subjective. There are no rights and wrongs in what we choose to wear. It's a feeling that comes from within us and not simply about buying another new dress or shirt. We need to understand which clothes make us feel good and why. This is understanding your style DNA. Sorry, guys. Complete loss of place.
It could be their colour.
I love this bit. It could be their colour, their texture, or that feeling of comfort they give you, like a child swaddled in soft blankets wrapped around you. Clothes are part of who you are as much as they have shaped the earth in which we all live. Yet, we have reduced them to frenzied levels of consumption in search of the next quick shopping fix and dopamine high. Fast fashion has eroded the very essence of what clothes mean to us as human beings. Why is it women have more clothing choices, yet less confidence in what we wear? 5-year-olds love to dress up and express themselves through their clothes, but children, girls especially, as young as 7, are now concerned with their appearance, including the clothes that they're wearing. Long gone from our society is the strict dress codes of what we should and shouldn't wear, and left to our own free will to drape, wrap, suspend, whatever we want on our bodies, has brought on mass insecurities. What will I wear today? How many even thought that this morning before coming here? And then a second question comes into your mind when you do pull on something. It's like, does this even actually suit me? You know? And who are we asking when that question punctures our thoughts? Usually it's just ourselves, and we're pretty quick at responding. From my most recent study, the little contentious beastie that I call mirror mouth had 82% responding negatively about the clothes that they were wearing. This little inner critic hacks into our brainwaves and says things to us we wouldn't dream of saying to someone else, yet we listen. But I've developed a black belt in self-defense, and it's called dressing your positives. When that question, does this suit me, zaps across my front cortex, my mirror mouth scans my reflection, checking that I'm ticking positive boxes only. No more thoughts of, does my bum look big in this? Can you tell I don't have a six-pack yet? Does it show I missed my gym session last night? Instead of focusing on concealing what you don't like about your body, you need to concentrate on what you do like. Your positives can even be that you're wearing something sustainable or ethical. It's time to adjust our view of what marketing has fed us for decades, to be less judgmental on what is right, wrong, beautiful, or unattractive. And here's the most important part. It starts with ourselves. When you develop your own style DNA, focus only on your positives, then those social media shares and likes and what others think, it really doesn't matter. And even if what you wear is not a thought that crosses your mind daily, the impact you have through the clothing choices you make influences the planet on which we all live. I want to see fashion continue to thrive, but I believe we should pay a fair price to those who make our clothes. A world where we buy better, where we buy less, and where the money filters all the way to the base of the supply chain. A world where we really do care about what we wear. Thank you.